And there we go. Okay. All right, we're live. Woo! All right, kick it off, Alexander.
Yeah. I don't know. Do we need to meet with everyone, or we can go through agenda?
Oh yeah, let's do that. Let's do that.
Okay, so I am Alex. I am trying to help with localization process and i18n initiative. I'm handling crowd-in integration and trying to help with guides for new translators. And yeah, that's me. So Ben.
That's awesome. Yeah, my name is Ben Mitchell, and I have helped sort of rebirth this internationalization working group in the last couple of years. And so facilitating this working group through the Node.js community committee. And yeah, really excited about the progress that's happening. Alex is doing great work. Zeke's doing great work. Other people are working on a lot of the integration stuff. And we're excited to kick it up a notch with the localization and making resources available for people to start translating well and know what to do. So really grateful to be here. And yeah, that's it. Jose, how about you?
If I'm not wrong, Jose said on previous time that he would like to chat. He's fine.
Gotcha. No problem. Thanks, Jose. Okay, Jose, he says he's doing great, and we know he's really excited about localization in Spanish.
Yeah, Jose started to help us with translation to Spanish, and he did a lot. So thank you for contribution. And yeah, so let's go through agenda. So I think we go through agenda, and then if Ben, you will have some question, or Jose, you will have some questions, I will try to answer, but let's go by plan. Awesome. So first stuff is complete integration with crowd-in. Yesterday I attended to website redesign meeting to like force guys to give us permissions to not to us to crowd-in Node.js GitHub account that we are using to integrate with crowd-in. And we finally get this access, but seems like Zeke busy at now, and he haven't chance to integrate with crowd-in. So we have enough permissions, but we are waiting for actual integration, like from Zeke. Right. Because as much as I know, just Zeke has access to this account. Probably Ben, you also have, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah, I think I have access to this account, probably. So if Zeke doesn't do that, by sometime early next week, then I can just.
Okay, if you need some, I can like post instructions how to do this if Zeke wouldn't respond to us.
Sure. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, if you wanna do that, that sounds great.
So it's like we almost done with this, and I hope we will done. And then after we finally integrate, I'm going to implement the crowd-in configuration for this project and push it to their repo, and finally integrate everything. So everything will be prepared.
Yeah. Beautiful. That's awesome. And this is for Node.js.dev, yeah? For the website.
Yeah, it's for Node.js.dev. For Node.js.org and for API docs is already integrated, and it already works for everyone. Translators can start.
That's beautiful. Yeah, so I mean, really on that point, next steps, like we talked about a few weeks ago, the last couple times that I've joined, we're getting those resources available, like glossaries and like contributing guides for the translators themselves and that sort of thing. So I think, on that step, just to kind of pad what we're talking about with how we can fuel that, I think naming or getting people excited to be, champions for these localization teams, or people who already will, identifying those people, helping them, giving them resources to kick this off with translators and editors and stuff like that.
Yeah, about guidelines and about this stuff, I also prepared my version of guidelines, and I'm like waiting for review, but it's like a next steps.
Oh sweet. Yeah. Is that on the? Is that in the agenda here?
Yeah, it's an agenda. So let's discuss it.
Awesome.
In a few steps.
Sorry.
Next. So Next one is so I don't remember who actually initiated this step, but we have some start using some script, GitHub Actions script to sync our docs. It's related just to i18n repo, to sync docs from main repo node and to our repo to get the fresh content of the documentation.
Awesome.
And that's what yeah. So for now, how it works, it's like we have predefined list of versions in our package.json that pulling from repo and like generate all content under our repo and then commit it. But I saw a few issues, like I just researched a bit here, and we have some issue related why just we can't like fetch fresh versions instead of predefine it. And here are a few opinions how we can do this. First was, I don't remember what, is NPM releases and GitHub releases. And we have some stale pull request. I think, let me just find where it was to give a bit more context and explain. So I say it related, okay. First one and second one. So, okay, here's an initiative from Drew, which is also great, but it's like one line script for NPM scripts, and it's not very useful because it's fetching, it's not working on Windows. It's first point. Second point, it's like a generate just JSON file, but not make all actions that we need. Then Miles pointed us that better to use changelog instead of GitHub releases. Yep. And it's like blocked, not a blocked, it's like, okay, we can't use changelog because Miles stopped responding to us, and that's why it's like a stale. Okay. Then another issue from Nick, it's like proposal to use NPM releases. I tried to investigate in it and understand how it works, but I actually can't understand how we can get this NPM releases because Node.js is not released to not hosted on NPM, and I don't know how it should work. So I just get all this data that I know, all this knowledge, and compared everything to my pull request that actually get fresh versions from original repo. Yep. By GitHub releases, and then it's fetch based on this fresh versions. It fetch fresh content and then push it with our collect script that we already have. So that's basically it. Nothing special. And it's one more thing that you probably don't know. We are added GitHub action that made nightly sync of the content, and in general it should be really great if we for now it works. Yesterday we are figured out what is the issue was and we fixed it, so it works. But I figured out we Node.js released a few new versions for certain version and for tense version, and but we still haven't any commit, and we still haven't like everything up to date is said, and but it's not, and I like a bit confused, and then I discovered that we are not pulling fresh versions, and that's why I implemented the script. So it's waiting for review, but I tested it on my local machine and it works well, so wait for review from others.
Sweet.
And yeah, it should work for us.
Yeah,
then after this PR going to be merged, I'm going to close this issue and previous pull request, and this problem should be solved, like sync content with main repo.
Beautiful, man. Thank you for all your work there, Alexander. That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah. So probably, Ben, if you have a time today, you can just review this pull request and it will be awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
But if you're busy, it's okay.
Usually, usually these things are like, I feel like this type of pull request is mostly best reviewed by two people or so. Like I have my perspective, but also, you know, Zeke has his perspective, and like he does this all day long, you know. So for him, I feel like it would be helpful to both have my review and his review, just so that he can verify this against, like, you know, best practices or whatever.
Of course. Of course, it's better to use two heads instead of one.
I'm just yeah. I know this, like Zeke's really you know, really done a lot of rad stuff, and so he may have some pertinent thoughts or something. But yeah, I'll definitely give it a review today, and I'm excited to check it out.
Okay, great. So, and another thing is guidelines. I created an issue. So Jose said something. Yeah. Yep. Thank you, Jose. Thank you for your thank you. So I created like issue guidelines needed because we are almost already set up. We are almost on the final steps with building our translation process, so we need to start writing guidelines.
Yeah.
So I created this issue, but I actually didn't expect any activity on this, so I started my own writing stuff. I'm not English native speaker. I can't like be a best from grammar position, but I try to be as best as possible. So here is prepared PR with a list of guidelines I wrote, and I asked everyone to review this. Here is 2 points. First is does it clear to understand everything, and second thing is I need totally some English native speaker proofreading, because I'm not sure in my skills. So I asked everyone. I don't know, I mentioned almost everyone to do this stuff.
Awesome.
So probably it's a great place where you can help a lot, because I already also started had some questions from translators, like how it should work or how it should work, and I already know these answers and I already described everything in this guide, but it's not merged yet. So I like sending him
to the PR.
Please check this PR where you can find answers, but it's not very good.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, I think there's a lot of people waiting for a guide. So the more heads, like we said on the last PRT, the more heads, the better. I'm excited to look at this. Looks like Zeke and Steven already took a look, and we'll land this. And you know, that's the thing. It's like you're going to have perspective that native English speakers don't have, because you're going to be looking at it from potential, you know, audience where like some things may make sense or don't make sense. So it's good that from multiple backgrounds we can make this contributing guide as diverse as possible. So that's good.
Yeah, I hope so.
Me too.
Yeah, so let's review it. I hope you'll find some time for that, because it's really like
super
needed
important
for us. Yeah, super important. Another stuff. Yeah, it's also my PR. It's related to refactoring current repo. I actually don't remember what is happening here. Let me check. Okay, so I removed a few old files, like called minutes folder, and it contains some, if I understood correctly, it was something like Google Docs that we are using now. It's like minutes, but it was in 2018, and I'm not sure that we are going to use it now, so I just removed it. And also I removed the status script, because it's not used for us at all. It wasn't used ever, and also like the reason why this script was implemented is like to get translation process from the crowding project. But for now we have this badge, so it's totally enough to know everything that we need. So this script like is deprecated, so I just removed it, and it's also waiting for review. Cool. Here's nothing, no any breaking changes because it never used somewhere, so I think it's okay to merge. And yeah,
I think maybe regarding the old minutes and stuff, well, I didn't actually look closely enough. Were those were links to old minutes, or they were actual posted markdown files for the like old minutes? Were they markdown files, or were they Google Docs? Oh, okay. Markdown files.
This is just markdown files.
Oh, gotcha, gotcha. Okay, so these are like old ones, and we're using Google Doc. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think with that kind of stuff, like just for history, keeping history, like it's almost good to. I mean, I can do some admin. I can like pull this down and do some admin or something. But I think like it's almost good to keep any old minutes or anything that we have from like past meetings, like in an archive folder, or something where like we have history. But I mean, the history's in here implicitly. Like it's where this is Git. It's Git. So we're gonna, like I don't know. Maybe we don't need it since we're doing. I mean, I don't want to like overload this, but usually like old minutes or old archive meeting stuff, I tend to keep to stick like in an archive folder. But it's probably not that big of a deal.
But it's not okay. I agree. It's okay to keep for history, but here's just the 3 minutes, and it's I don't know. It seems
yeah, it seems redundant. It's like we're already doing this in Google Docs, and this would be like, okay, well, are we going to keep, why are we going to keep that around forever? Just those 3 meetings or whatever. That's fine. Yeah, let's. I don't know. Yeah, I'll look at this today, and I don't think removing it is a problem.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. So this refactor. Yeah. Another one is this issue. Again, we haven't all people on the call, but here's like I just can explain. So this is issue about adding tests to this repo, and the main points about what we can test is first one, we can test translated content, and second one is we can lint the content, not just translate it. And I figured out that we don't need this more because I write these points here, but I can like say this. So validation of translated content that we are getting from Crowdin is not required because Crowdin handling this for us automatically, so we don't need it at all. Second thing is really a serious issue that Crowdin keep the files that already deleted from original source, and this issue already solved. Nick created this PR and it's already merged, so it's like also solved. And third one is to lint our content. I personally think original source is linting in the original repo, so we don't need to overlint. I don't know what is a specific word. Lint one more time. It's not required for us. And also linting content that's translated and going from Crowdin, it's also not required because, as I said, Crowdin handling everything for us. So from my point of view, we don't need. I want to close this issue because here's no any valuable points.
No, I hear you. I think maybe the case, just depending on what we lint, right? Like the case could be made that this is a last stop or a fail-safe for any like reserved words that have been, like poorly translated, or I mean, like that, like say somebody wrote a reserved word with an extra character or something, like simple tests to make sure that anything that has to do like this is just like last stop security fail safe, like this is the end of the line and we just want to make sure that like seriously nothing is going in that people are going to try to use that won't work, that's like broken or something. So
but Crowdin should handle it. I think
Crowdin should handle that for sure. I mean Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'll just probably add my 2 cents there, and then see what other people say. And
yeah. I also just asking like what any objections about closing this issue.
yeah.
Of course, if someone have some point, I'm ready to listen. I'm ready to implement something.
Sure. Yeah, for sure.
So
Awesome.
so
That
it's
sounds
like an
good.
open question to discuss. So yeah,
Cool. Yeah.
let's
Awesome.
think about it.
Great.
Another stuff is related to NPM model. So when I get maintainer access to this repo, I started like cleaning up all issues, all pull requests.
Right.
So I discovered that we have a lot of issues and pull requests that's related to NPM model which actually never reached out. So I decided to like collect everything under one issue and make final decision, do we need this NPM model or not? Because I had a few conversations with Zeke and with other mates, and we haven't like strong opinion about that, because as I described here, for NPM model was useful when we haven't any idea how we deliver the content to our end projects, and this was an open question, and NPM model was a great solution. But for now, when we know what API docs is getting directly from this repo, Node.js.dev can get this docs using Gatsby plugin, so they are also don't need any NPM model, and we just need to figure it out how we can deliver this content for Node.js website, nodejs.org. My position is we need to create NPM model when we need to reuse something and not to like deliver something. If we want to deliver something from point A to point B, we can just make this by some simple script. Yeah, so that's my point of view, and I try to open some discussion, and Zeke pointed me like, okay, we don't want to publish it to NPM and just want to keep it with module structure, but in GitHub repo, and everyone who wants can install it by NPM, but directly from GitHub. And I said, okay, why not?
Yeah, sure.
So it's like still open discussion, because nobody except me and Zeke said their opinion. But
yeah, I think like here's the only opinion I have on that off the top of my head without reading this fully in earnest. I think my opinion is like, yeah, that sounds great as the project is evolving right now to serve the targets that it has currently. But I think also that there's a value in publishing an NPM module that makes it easy for people to, like, we also need to think of, internationalized or localized documentation outside of the Node ecosystem, outside of like Node.js, the project itself. Like, if we publish the localized documentation or whatever one of the targets we have to an NPM module, then anybody else could import that. Like NPM is like the de facto way for people to import and export stuff across the JavaScript ecosystem. And if any project wants to get localized like Node.js documentation in their own project, like whatever person or company or someone building an app or whatever, like that's not just for Node. I think that would make it simple for them. So I think one of the use cases for publishing something in an NPM module is making it easy for the community to leverage if they want to or need to. But but my opinion is just like that is a thing. But for now, just getting this out the door and out the gate, for NPM or for Node resources, this is totally fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So it's like still open discussion. So
yeah.
If you have some opinion, please write. So I understand your point, and yeah, it's makes sense.
Cool.
Yeah. Another thing is like I created just a few hours before this meeting. It's like I like get an idea that we need to protect the translated content from a manual updates. So for Node.js.org community like already using the PR system to translate a Node.js website, and I like created. I'm not sure that it's already merged to their repo. It should be some note on README about this. Let me just check. Sorry, I want to spend your time.
Not a problem. That's what we're here for.
So, does it here or not? Localization. Okay, yeah. So it's like last last line, but it's better than nothing. So I like created a note, and I also updated translation guide for everyone. And I said you don't need to use pull request system. You need to use crowd-in for everything. I posted this like mark to everyone who before helped with translation, but now also want to help, and like to not be confused, we like make a note when we switched to crowd-in to not confuse everyone. And yeah, so I created these notes, but I believe we will face with some like developers who want to merge their translation through pull request instead of crowd-in platform.
Okay.
And we need to protect in some way. And I have an idea that we can do this by GitHub Actions, like to do this automatically instead of like we should manually check all PR system, and it probably not comfortable for everyone to reject pull request for some contributor who just started and say, hey man, sorry, we can't approve this.
Yeah, I mean, I think this touches on being a part of the governance of our particular working group. So this would have to become like a new point of governance for our group, where we just say in our governance guide, we say like, you know, and mention this in the contributing guide as well, but any localization of anything like has to happen through crowd-in, you know, and just point it to there. Point them to that. And so like any developer who is looking to translate something and goes to the contributing guide will already see that and then just be pointed there anyway. So if we make it a part of our working group's governance, and then we're, you know, pretty clear about that in our contributing guides and whatever, I feel like that should really minimize the risk for that. However, I don't see, you know, my opinion is I don't see any problem with, you know, automating like closing any issues or any PRs that have translations in them in this particular repo, as well as you know, closing the PR with a note about that, you know.
Yeah, I'm also thinking, but another thing is we need to add these actions to all our projects that we are translating. So we need like to think for a universal solution that we can implement everywhere. And I think GitHub Action is like best way for that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so it's like just an idea. Probably other developers have another ways how we can do this, but my idea is GitHub Actions. So let's wait for other opinion. Yeah. And also, I'm not very experienced with GitHub Actions, so I can research, but probably someone, from my point of view, Nick is more experienced than me with GitHub Actions, so probably he can help. So let's wait his.
Yeah. Well, I think it's simple. I mean, like you know, you and I both know on the top level, it simplifies things greatly because it keeps it all like within the same namespace. So like everything is in GitHub. So you know, like I don't know, but yeah, getting other opinions would be great. That sounds good.
Yeah. So it's like this one, and yeah, and the last one is about structure of localization team. It's like old issue with strange name with strange title, but in general, we are talking here. We are talking about structure of teams. So here is my proposed structure that I'm almost done. We just faced with a few blockers. We already have a team called Node.js / localization, and it's not semantic correctly, and that's why I want to rename it to translators. But we need firstly to make some bureaucracy moment to ask Benjamin to like, do you okay with it?
Yeah.
And after his approval, we can do this.
Yeah.
So I already created this structure, and I don't know why I added this to agenda. Well, probably
No, it's good.
if you have some way how we can force Benjamin to do this.
Well, I can't force anybody to do anything, but yeah, no, but I hear you. You know, you just mean like kind of try to bring this to his attention to push it along. I hear that. Yeah, I think internationalization market repo contact with people. So like this is a way to keep in contact with all of the localization trend.
Yeah. So the main thing is like structure. So we are.
Yeah,
I described it in my guides why we need this. No, I'm not described. I just give a use cases how we can use these teams mentions. So Node.js crowd-in managers, it's like for everyone, for some technical stuff.
Yeah.
Each of this team is good mentioned for adding some language for specific project of Node.js. And if you want to add some Serbian language, you can like ping this team, and they will add for you.
This is also, oh, sorry.
Yeah, Node.js translators is like group of all i18n groups to like mention everyone at once, because I can predict that we are going to mention all localization teams that we already have to update their repos short time. So that's why I want to have mentioned like this.
Yeah, perfect. No, this is perfect. This is going to help us. This is going to help us create and continue to update the the pool of people who are like championing the different localization teams, and then how they're involved with crowd-in and that kind of stuff. So this is really great. Thanks for bringing this to a head, and hopefully I can add some context, or like share opinions and get talk more with Benjamin and people like that here soon.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
and
that's great. Thanks, man.
Yeah, so that's it.
Rad. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that was great. Thank you so much, Alexander, for just all your work and corralling all this together, and making progress happen. Like, it's beautiful. So thank you for that. Yeah, I think the only other things on the localization and internationalization stuff, I mean, there's a lot of we're at this stage where like you have been pushing forward these fundamental things that need to happen before we get like open the floodgates for translators to come in and that sort of thing. And then so like if we can get these guides done, and this if the collection script and stuff is all in place, and then things are updated by version and that kind of stuff, then I mean we should be golden to be translating all of the different targets. And then yeah, this is awesome. So I think something I can what I hope to do is to add context or not context, add opinions and any sort of progression that needs to happen in the PRs that we already talked about. And then on top of that, some of the action items that we took from like a month back or so, just that are more revolving around organizing and getting people in, identifying the people that are going to be a part of the translation team, and the crowd-in team, and getting those people listed so that we can start keeping in touch and
Mm-hmm.
getting people funneled through the the contributing guide and the localization guidelines and stuff into
Mm-hmm.
doing the translation. So I think as soon as we can sort of create this, like, we have the technical mechanism is really on its way. That's awesome. And then beyond that, the contributing mechanism is like what has to be just solid, so that so that we can start to get the translations in. And I think it's exciting. This is really exciting. We're in a good place.
One more thing is like after we are done with all technical stuff, I plan to write a few articles, probably to Medium, about that to invite. Okay, so from my side, I can invite a lot of Russian translators and Ukrainian translators, because I would like to write a few articles for Ukrainian blogs and for Russian blogs.
Awesome. Yeah.
And also, I would like to write some posts to Medium, and probably we will have some potential translators.
Yeah.
But also I found some interesting comment from, I don't know, what is the name? Zibi?
Zibi, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's said like she ready to help with popularization, with promoting our like stuff to everyone, and to invite a lot of translators. So probably after we are done, I think it will be, if everyone goes well, and I will be the same active as now, and everyone review my activity, I think we will done in 2 weeks, and we will like ready for invite a ton of translators.
Totally.
Yeah, so I hope, and probably we can ping Zibi to help us with promotion.
Yeah, definitely. Zibi and who's the other person? There's a few people, but I think this is where the Node.js community committee kind of comes into play. So when we're ready to socialize and do like sort of a marketing push, if you will, for translators, we can definitely just I'll be involved in it. Tierney will be involved in it, who's the doing community committee stuff, and anybody who does social for Node.js and for Linux Foundation and that kind of stuff, we can get that information out there. And then, I mean, that will be an amazing moment. So looking forward to that. And then, yeah, if you need to, I think Zibi, I can't remember if Zibi is still the right person to do, I think she is, to do like publish something on like Node.js collections and things like that. There are, like say you write a Medium article and you want that published via the Node.js collection. I think, are we still doing Node.js collection? I can't remember. I need to get up to date with the community stuff there anyways. But anyways, if there's a funnel for you to have an official, blog published through a Node.js publication, then like that's definitely a, if it's about internationalization, then yeah, if you're going to write one in English, just let me know, and I'd love to help you with editing so that it
okay, thanks.
Yeah,
really
like translates well and all that kind of stuff. And then we can just we can get that out there, for people through Node.js Medium publications. So that should be good. Really excited for that. And like, I think, I mean, even if it's like about that in Russian or whatever, I don't think there's I think they're willing to post in any language. So
yeah, it's true, but I have a few resources that like a lot of readers, I think is so readers of Node.js blog is not expected to have some Russian posts. So it's better to post to some Russian blog, so it works me. Thanks. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, that sounds good. Well, anyways, yeah, let's just keep in touch on that. And when we get to that, those moments where we're writing and publishing blogs about it, we'll just help each other out with that, and that'll be great.
Yeah, sounds great. Thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, and also I like checked our activity. It's really start growing up on all our projects, like for docs and for Node.js website. And I don't know what is the reason why it started growing, but it's really great.
Yes, it's awesome.
So yeah,
right on,
let's
man.
see how it will be.
Awesome. Well,
yeah. For now, I'm done. So
great. Well, yeah, no, this is really great, man. Thank you for all your work and for just pushing things forward. And yeah, just excited to do this along with you. And yeah, I'll be able to take a lot of this and update the community committee about our progress, and start talking about hey, we're getting ready for. We're almost ready for like a marketing push for getting translators and help and that kind of stuff, and then we'll just we'll go from there. And yeah, things are getting really exciting, man. Thank you for everything. Looking forward to working on this with you over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah,
right on,
seems like this meeting is done. So yeah, thank you for your time. Thank you for joining. Yeah, see you next week.
All right, see you next week. Bye, Alexander. Bye, Jose.
Yeah, bye everyone.